Hi everyone, it's Dawn and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, some scary things happen in the air sometimes, and that is my biggest fear. As somebody who flies all the time, what happened on this airline flight is terrifying to me. We also have a cruise changing a bunch of itineraries again, and you might be surprised by the reason it's changing the itineraries. And then I want to talk about a big move from Princess Cruises and Norwegian Cruise Lines as, one of their big chief executive officers is changing ships. So a flight from Columbus to Phoenix on an American Airlines 737, it apparently had a bird strike, and it caused flames to be shooting out of one of its engines. And a passenger caught this and filmed it off their camera, and you can actually hear people in the background crying and children crying after seeing. I fly all the time, literally all the time. I am probably in the airport and flying on planes 5, 6, 7, 8 times a month, and that is my biggest fear. I do not like to fly. I'll admit it right now, I'm not a guy who loves to fly. I'm comfortable, I'm okay, but I do not like to fly at all because I'm not in control of the plane. If I was in control of the plane, I think I'd be, like a fighter pilot. I think I'd be okay. Not a problem. But and seeing this is one of those things that just absolutely terrifies me. Thankfully, the plane just turned around, landed safely, and there were no injuries. Passengers, of course, they weren't going to continue flying. They know what to do. There's a protocol in place. They have the emergency services down below. They knew what to do, and good on American Airlines and the pilot. Nothing happened to people. Everyone's fine, but it just sends chills up and down my spine when I see something like that, because that is my biggest fear about traveling. Just the planes. And I'm on them all the time. Well, we also have the Norwegian Dawn is currently on a transatlantic cruise, and they just told their passengers, I'm afraid 2 of our stops are going to be canceled. One is St. John's, Newfoundland, here in Canada, a very picturesque town off the coast of Newfoundland. Capital. It's a beautiful place to visit, and unfortunately they're going to have to skip it. And probably even bigger news for most people on that cruise will be Iceland. I think it's pronounced Reykjavik. I can't pronounce it. Reykjavik, Iceland. It's the home of the Blue Lagoon. It's also one of the places in Iceland where you can actually see the Northern Lights. And so that's like Blue Lagoon, Northern Lights, that's a pretty big bucket list stop for a lot of people. And unfortunately, they can't go, and the Norwegian is saying it's because of 2 reasons. 1, bad, rough weather in the area. You know what? You're going to have to be safe. You got to keep the ship safe. That's number 1 priority, keep passengers safe. The other reason, which might surprise you, is there's just too many icebergs in the area. Icebergs. I don't know of too many ships anymore that I've heard are canceling destinations because of icebergs. But apparently right now that's a thing. Icebergs in the Atlantic Ocean near Iceland and St. John's, Canada. Wow. I guess you don't want to run into one of them either out there. As you know, icebergs can look very, very small on top and actually turn out to be gigantic underneath, and can just cut through metal on a ship, even though ships built nowadays are far stronger, far more technology on board. They don't normally have anything to do with icebergs. They're fine. They know where they are. They can see. But I guess they're not going to take any chances in something that's not a normal shipping lane like the Atlantic Ocean. So canceling. Wow. Okay. And finally, we have a switch up in executives between Norwegian Cruise Line and Princess Cruise Lines. Two competing companies. One was Carnival, and well, John Chernesky, he's been with Princess Cruises for over 30 years. I used to watch a lot of his videos. He was kind of like John Heald with Carnival. He was Princess's kind of brand ambassador. That was his last role. Although in the past year and a half, 2 years, basically almost since the middle of the pandemic, a little bit earlier than that, I stopped seeing a lot of his posts and a lot of anything coming from him. I saw lots of Princess advertising and everything, but I never saw actually him coming out and doing those videos that I used to see pop up all the time. And apparently we may know the reason now, as he has now been moved over to Norwegian Cruise Line's head of sales for North America. Pretty big role, but it's kind of surprising to go to a competitor when, especially after being with Princess Cruise Lines for 30 years. But I guess he was a little tired of being kind of the brand ambassador, and he wanted to move a little bit more up in the company into the executive status. And this was a good step up for him. He's still a very young man, and who knows where he can go in the future. Maybe one day he will become the CEO of Norwegian Cruise Line. We will see. But another question kind of comes up then is that, well, now Princess does not really have a brand ambassador now, does it? I don't know anybody out there who's their brand like liaison person now, the face of Princess Cruise. I see a lot of Princess advertising popping up, but I don't see anybody who's like the face of Princess. You know what? Now, if only there was somebody out there who's experienced in cruising, who kind of shows Princess in a good light a lot, kind of charming, some might say egotistical. But maybe there might be somebody out there Princess might want to look at who has like experience in doing videos and speaking on cruise ships and knows a lot about cruise ships. And I wish there was somebody out there. I'm sure they can think of somebody. Somebody, right? Self-promotion going strong. Well, folks, that's it today. Again, I want to thank everybody for all they're still coming in, all the well wishes, finding out that I have to go for surgery and everything. Today's a pretty big day. I go see my surgeons today to find out more about all that, and I'll let you guys know. Hopefully they can schedule it really, really soon so it doesn't affect my upcoming travels that I have. Luckily, I don't have a lot planned in May. I was planning to jump on a bunch of last-minute things, but I'm hoping now that I can get the surgery done in May and be well enough for all my June adventures that I already have booked and upcoming after that. So, yeah, fingers crossed. And again, thank everybody out there. Well, I hope you appreciate this little video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel blogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation. Oh, I guess I got a promise, right? All right. Today it's Rick and Morty.